Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back for another video. Today we're going to look at Bitcoin. I know you're shocked, right? But hey, if you like this content, please smash up that like button, leave a comment in the comment section, subscribe to the channel. But otherwise, let's go ahead and dive right in. So hey, you know what? Green Day, something we can celebrate, something we can be happy about. Will we see a Santa Claus rally or an end of the year rally? Will we rally in 2022? You know, on a macro scale that I'm bullish, that I don't see a reason to be bearish right now. But at the same time, you also know, if you've been watching my channel, that at this dollar amount, at this current dollar amount, I am neutral. You know, we could certainly go back down in the 40s. We could go to the mid 40s. How low do I think we're going to go? Well, I mean, I don't know. Let's take a look at the charts. There's a bunch of different factors that I'm looking at, but in general, I am neutral towards bullish. Short-term neutral, long-term bullish. So let's take a look at why that's the case. So first of all, the big thing that I want to point out is, we have three different lines here. Well, actually, there's four different ones. This light yellow one is the 200-day simple moving average. The dark orange, the orange one is the 50-week simple moving average. And then we have the bull market support band, the 21 weekly EMA, the 20-week simple moving average. These are four key metrics that I'm looking at, that I usually look at to see, all right, are we in a bull market, a bear market, the bull market, the bear market, et cetera, et cetera. And probably the biggest thing, I would say over the weekend, we were hovering into extremely bearish territory. And what was my big concern? It was simply this: the 50-week simple moving average, the dark orange line. We closed 4 days in a row below the 50-week moving average. If we had a sustained period below that, that would have been a sign that perhaps, just purely from a technical analysis standpoint, that we were going to see an extended, like a very extended period of time in bearish markets. And so when was the last time that we were anywhere near this level? I mean, we kind of got there in September, but look, July, 3 closes below the 50-week simple moving average at that summer bottom, July 20th, when we got down to $29,200. But then we bounced right back above it. And so for me to see us bounce right back above that line right there, that is a very good sign. And I think, here's my open opinion, do your own research. This is not financial advice. I think that we are going to hold this line, that this is that this is seen as the last line, and that when we get below the 50-week simple moving average, that people generally, deep pockets, see that as a buying opportunity. And so that's kind of my new strategy now. I used to say 45,000 to 52,000. That's no man's land for me. I am not a buyer. I'm not a buyer right now in general, but if we go again below the 50-week simple moving average, I don't see a reason why we would spend a prolonged period of time below there. And so that would be my buying point right now. Right now, that's at a little under $48,000. And so what am I looking for to see, to declare myself some kind of a bull? It's simply that we get above, again, the bull market support band. The 21-week EMA is around $51,800, but then the 20-week simple moving average is closer to $53,000. I would love to see us get above $53,000, come back down to the bull market support band, hold that as support, and then move higher. And then we'll see. I'm also going to be paying attention to altcoins. What kind of reaction will altcoins have? Because I know that a lot of people, there are some people who think that we're done, that it's over, the bull run is over, but what they're expecting is some kind of major alt season. And to me, some kind of confirmation of that would be alt season, alts exploding. Now, some people ask me, like, are you concerned that alts are exploding right now? I would say, no, they're not exploding. This is not alt season. They're going up, as Bitcoin is going up, and it's, Bitcoin's slowly, gradually losing some of its dominance, but alt season takes Bitcoin's dominance down to the lower 30s percentage-wise. Right now it's at 41%. So that's kind of what I'm looking for here. But at macro, I don't see a reason to be bearish. We've talked about these things over and over on this channel, but I'm going to cover some of those things again. The first thing that I want to point out again is look at all of this selling pressure from Asia. if you were to look at the United States and Europe, you would see in general, for the most part, the United States and Europe, that we are buyers of Bitcoin right now, but we had this cascade of sales coming out of Asia. And I talked about what was the cause of that. In my opinion, you know, there's stuff going on in India, there's always stuff going on in China. But for me, the big thing that I think was causing this was the shutting down in China of two major exchanges, Huobi and OKEX. And so you can see I have a letter pulled up here from Huobi to their users. Dear valued users, to follow local compliance policies, Huobi Global will retire mainland China user accounts in an orderly manner while ensuring the safety of user assets, et cetera, et cetera. Spot trading is done right now, but then here's the last thing. This is the final line, and this is where all of that selling, a lot of that selling pressure is going to come to an end. From 1600 UTC on December 31st, 2021, mainland China users can no longer sell their holdings. So again, so here's what's going on with Huobi. They're shutting down in mainland China. They will no longer have access, just to keep themselves safe from all of the Chinese regulation that's going on. And because of that, a lot of people who were using Huobi in China, what they would do is they just sell their Bitcoin. They'd be like, well, you know, this is too scary for me. I don't want to be a bag holder if I can't ever sell this, if China cracks down even further. And so what they're doing instead is just they're converting it back to their fiat currency. And who knows what they're doing after that. But they're very much sellers right now. And all of that stops on December 31st. So what does that mean? If the United States and Europe are buyers, and Asia goes back to either being neutral or being a buyer, which they were. I mean, look at them before. Before all of this cascade right here. They were very eager buyers of Bitcoin. And so it seems logical to me that they are going to go back to a buying position. And if that's the case, I could see the price of Bitcoin shooting up much higher very quickly. But we'll see. You know, first things first, bull market support band. All right, next. Now, got to look at funding. Always got to be looking at funding. Now, we've seen, I've been monitoring this high uptick. That is an aggressive uptick in funding. But the question is, there's two questions you got to ask yourselves. Is one, what kind of funding is this? Is this with stable coins? Is it with the actual coin, the cryptocurrency itself, or with stable coins? Stable coins is a better sign than the actual cryptocurrency. Two, is this mostly shorts? Is it longs? Three, is this mostly retail? Is it smart money? So right now, good sign, mostly stable coins, not mostly the coin itself. Number two, I don't even remember what was number two, but number three was the big one. Who's doing this? Who's doing the funding right now? Is it mostly retail, or is it mostly deep pockets, whales, smart money? And from everything that I can tell, it's mostly smart money doing the funding. Our number two is it mostly people longing or shorting? Now that's a difficult thing to navigate, because there is a long for every short. There's a short for every long. But if it's the smart money, we want the smart money on our side. And yes, they are mostly longing right now. So is that a concern? I don't think so. I think that that's a good sign that if the smart money is mostly longing right now, that who's on the other side of that, it's probably retail. Retail is shorting and smart money is longing. So I think that we could potentially see a squeeze to the upside. I think it is more like we could certainly see a squeeze to the downside, but I think it's more likely that we're going to see a squeeze to the upside in this regard. And then, all right, illiquid supply. You know I'm going to look at illiquid supply. Illiquid supply continues to rise. If I see any change in illiquid supply, that's when I will be to turn more macro neutral or bearish. But right now, the illiquid supply continues to rise. I pay attention to Glassnode alerts on Twitter. I'd recommend you follow their page. Every night around midnight Eastern time, they release information as to what are people doing. Are they transferring to exchanges or transferring out of exchanges? The last several days, there was one day where there were pretty heavy transfers to exchanges, but since then it's just been, the same old, the supply turning more and more illiquid. And then another thing that I found was very interesting, Bitcoin supply held by entities with balance between 100 to 1K, whales. So we are seeing an uptick here. Look at how flat that was from May until October. they just flatlined, they plateaued. And now we're seeing some kind of a move upward. I expect this to continue, especially into 2022, because you got to think about one other thing with whales, with entities holding, a large amount of Bitcoin. What would they tend to do at the end of the year, and what would they tend to do at the beginning of the year? If we're talking about institutions, they're closing their books by the end of the year. They're selling, they're ensuring that they have profits at the beginning of the year. I think we're going to see lots more buying occur for Bitcoin, and not only with Bitcoin but with other cryptocurrencies, and that we're starting a run up with whales and with deep pockets. So we'll see. We'll see about that. We'll revisit that another time. Miners, got to talk about miners. So miners are status quo. We did see one little tick here on December 22nd, an uptick in selling, which, you compare that to any other time. There's nothing extraordinary about that uptick in selling. So as far as we are concerned right now, things on a bigger scale look good. The price, in my opinion, should move along with it. But until we get above the bull market support band, I am neutral. I hate to, it's a good way to just discipline ourselves. That we could certainly go lower from here. We could go back to the 40s. Got to keep that in mind. Got to be sobered. Got to not be too excited by green candles. But in my opinion, if it's up or down, we're going up. So anyway, that is all I have for today. If you have not already, I would encourage you to check out my bear market buying guide on worldwarbitcoin.teachable.com. I have 25 courses, about 4 hours of content as to exactly what I am planning to do in the bear market, depending on different metrics all around. I've heard good reports about this, and I am planning on adding to this content, increasing it from 25 to 100 videos about different bear market buying strategies. And as things progress, I will certainly include updates. And so 4 hours of content, one-time fee of $27. When I get to 50 videos, I will probably raise that to $37. So now's a good time to get in. If you pay the one-time fee of $27, that is it. You will get any kind of upgrades, any updates. Those will all be in there. So otherwise, I hope you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I will see you in another video. Peace.